He would just come into my room at all hours of the night and go, good, good, good. I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is why I locked my door.
He wasn't your roommate, was he?
No. I would leave my door unlocked so people would just come in, and it was a big mistake because I would just hear.
And that's why, kids, you always lock.
That's why you shouldn't go to college.
Welcome to the Schmucks of the Galaxy podcast. I'm the world's biggest fan of the lowercase q, Toby.
Just call me Martha.
Why would you say that name?
I self-identify as a frog, and my name is Gilbert. Gilbert Frog-Free.
I was waiting for some Gilbert Gottfried joke.
I don't know why.
Someone was gonna make
that was
it.
the first thing that popped into my head.
Well, name another famous person named Gilbert that you know. That's not Gilbert Gottfried.
Let's see. Gilbert Gaddafi?
Sure.
Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah. Remember that TV show?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves Roseanne. What am I talking about?
Dinner for Schmucks 2.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's what we are. Just dinner for schmucks. So, the DC Universe is a thing.
No.
I mean, I agree, but...
It wants to be a thing.
It wants to be a thing. And I want it to be a thing. Because...
Okay, let's put it this way. It's becoming a thing.
It's becoming a thing. And I think ever since Wonder Woman coming out, it's the first decent movie in that universe.
They're making a Flashpoint movie to reboot all of it.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah.
So, actually, here's what I'm going to do.
Actually, that's probably best case scenario.
Agreed.
I'm actually going to go right now on the internet, and I'm going to look up the entire, what has been confirmed, all of the movies in this universe, what have come out, what's coming out, what is rumored to be coming out.
Yes.
So
my issue is that Justice League happened before any of the solo movies.
Well, I mean, there was Superman, and Wonder Woman, but I don't know. I think,
but that's only 2 out of 5.
Yeah, and technically,
I mean, we all know Batman. I don't think we need that again. But
yeah,
I don't know, Cyborg.
So here, let's talk about it this way. First, in this universe was Man of Steel.
I didn't mind that movie that much, to be honest.
I actually enjoy that movie. I remember seeing it the first time, and the very next day, I saw it at nighttime in a packed theater, and everyone there seemed to have loved it. And I think the experience of being in a really positive theater, influenced my opinion then, and I found it to be really... when I was watching it that night, I thought it was really good.
No, I agree. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. I think it's very... I feel like this is the wrong word, but it's very typical or generic as superhero movies go, I felt. Yeah. Granted, it had a Zack Snyder change in tone, which made a big difference.
There are just a lot of missed opportunities.
Right, but it's not a bad movie. Yeah, it's not a bad start, you know?
It could have been worse, and trust me, it does get worse. But I think that the biggest problem with that movie is that it had an identity crisis, because... I remember we were just talking about this before we started the podcast, how there are different versions of the Hulk, and some are more who is the best version of the Hulk? I feel like this is one of the lesser versions.
I think people were confused because they missed Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, but I mean he's dead.
Yeah. I think
I mean just that version because that's what he's been up until this point.
I think what I was trying to say is that they missed the Boy Scout Superman. Yeah. It was trying to be...
I was happy Batman. They didn't do that because that's how I see Chris Evans Captain America, and he pisses me off. So I was actually really he's just such a self-righteous Boy Scout.
But he's not. He's not self-righteous.
A little
He's
bit.
the most selfless person in that entire group.
Bucky!
I don't think the identity crisis, though, happened with Superman necessarily. I think that happened more with the Justice League movie. Where because they heard all these complaints about everything
you mean
dark,
how they threw in the fun music?
Yeah, they're trying to be more fun now, but the problem But the problem that's happening with it is that because initially they established this
the
really
darkness
dark
wasn't
tone,
the problem though.
I think it was.
Like a mismatch.
I think it was because it was DC trying to differentiate itself, and it didn't work at all. I think it
could have been a really good dark Superman movie.
It could have worked.
I mean, it could have been cool, but I feel like Superman's not the character to make dark. Like
The Injustice storyline, though.
But that's an Elseworld story. It's not a Superman story. Like
I guess, but they made him the villain, and it worked.
But Superman's not like Superman's supposed to be like the #1 character in this universe, other than the Batman.
They made him, to me, like, they never show him actually wanting to help people.
Well, in this universe, yeah.
Because it's like, no, in this, yeah, that's why I don't like the character, because he's like, I just want Lois, because she's I want her naked. And then his dad's like, no, Clark, don't help anyone. And he's like, no, but I'm going to help people anyways, but I don't want to. But now I'm Jesus.
And then his dad is like, fuck you, you're going to
don't save
home.
me.
Don't save people. Now watch me get eaten by a tornado.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm in the middle between you two, where I think a Dark Superman movie could have really worked. But
I think it would have worked too.
But I think it would have been better had they went with a more classic interpretation of Superman. But at the same time,
they didn't give it a reason to be dark. It was just dark to be dark.
Not only
that's
a big problem. Yeah, totally. And I also feel like the actual reason was simply because Dark Knight movies were doing so well that they felt like they had to capitalize on that tone. But the problem is that those movies were set in a realistic version of
Batman wasn't the one that was dark. It was everything around Batman that was dark.
There was that too, but it was a realistic world to some extent where there were no superpowers. So you can't really take a realistic non-superpowered tone and apply it to Superman of all characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a controversial opinion because people always ask or like propose like the benefits and the negatives of how the Dark Knight trilogy influenced Hollywood. And I feel like the Dark Knight trilogy and Christopher Nolan are probably one of the biggest people or things to point fingers at in terms of this universe going wrong, because that whole phase...
It is not his fault.
It's not, not directly. It's not like Christopher Nolan's like,
no,
I'm gonna like destroy the universe.
It's his influence.
But like, it's his influence. And,
I
like,
get it.
They're not
that...
superhero movies, though. Well, they're all crime dramas.
Yeah, but it's...
And no one makes that distinction.
Well, yeah, but like, you see how so many other universes have... Not universes, but different comic book storylines, and even stuff outside of comic books, like, took inspiration from the Dark Knight universe. Like, even James Bond became, like, incredibly depressing, and James Bond is primarily very, like, goofy and silly.
Campy.
And campy. It's like, and now...
Well, Casino Royale was pretty dark, too.
Yeah.
And I think that was before The Dark Knight.
No, it came out... but it came out a year after Batman Begins, I think.
Okay.
But even then... I think this universe has a lot of its faults in terms of tone go back to the Dark Knight trilogy, because there are so many movies, like the first Amazing Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four reboot, even like some stuff, again, outside of superheroes, where like everything was trying to be so dark, and this, like, Man of Steel, I think, suffered from that. And I think, like, had the movie had a completely different... Because Christopher Nolan, I think he produced it, or executive produced the movie. Let me see.
No, he did produce it.
He is produced. It was produced by Christopher Nolan.
You know what
he's
he said,
close
right?
with Snyder, so that's why
he actually said something really funny. But before I go on that, I think, speaking of tone, they were influenced by that Dark Knight tone. But I also feel like they need to do a gradual shift, because you see what Wonder Woman did well was, like, it still had like a tone where there was like a darkness to the film because it was World War I. Yeah. But they still were able to balance very light.
Yeah.
With like
and they mix it up better. But Justice League looks like a shift into like Cartoonville.
Yeah.
It looks bizarre.
Really bad. Yeah, it's jarring. Secondly, Christopher Nolan actually said, like, told Snyder that you shouldn't make Superman really dark, and that you should go more along the classic lines, because he said that Superman's not a dark character.
He's
not.
And this is what Christopher Nolan actually said.
Yeah.
Like, you can find the interview online, and I think the fact that he said that is really funny, especially when you consider how he's getting blamed. Like, it's your fault. But like, he told Snyder not to do it, and Snyder did it.
Oh man, stop calling the phone. All right. Anyways,
Oh, they found us!
Oh no, it's Christopher Nolan. He's gonna make a movie about us. It's gonna be all dark.
Zack Snyder throws a grenade wrapped in an American flag through the window, and we all die.
Henry Cavill's calling because he wants me to help him shave his mustache.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We'll get to that, but like, damn, that is so fucking funny.
What, the 80s porn mustache?
No, the fact that they're CGIing his mustache off in Justice League.
Oh, yeah, and that's why they're having
It's
reshoots.
you know what would make more sense is if he shaved and they got a fake mustache that looked just like how his natural mustache would grow, because that way they wouldn't have to CGI for either movie and it would look better for both movies.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we're not there yet because we had to go through another movie before we even get to however Justice League turns out, and that's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which I hate. I hate this movie. I really do. And it's funny because there's some parts in this movie that are really good, but as a whole, it is just a mess.
I agree 100%.
It is a fucking mess. And the crazy part is Chris Terrio has a writing credit on this movie, and he, if you don't know Chris Terrio, he has a pretty good pedigree outside of like this one movie that he did. I'm trying to find like everything he's done, but what did he do? He did Argo. Like, he has a history with Ben Affleck.
Oh no, he's on Justice League too.
Yeah, but keep in mind the reason why I think Batman v Superman was so bad was because David S. Goyer's hands were on it. And he's the reason why I think Man of Steel also suffered, because David S. Goyer does not have a good...
No.
He has more bad movies than not.
I actually met
Zack
David
Snyder.
Goyer, and I talked to him about his...
Did you really?
I actually have met David Goyer.
Oh, boy.
And I had a conversation with him at New York Comic Con. I think he signed one of my Batman things or something like that. And basically, what it was he prefers writing supernatural storylines or dark storylines, which is great in regards to Batman or like a Constantine movie or something. But in regards to Superman, it doesn't work because it's just too dark as a whole. And granted, like, this is what I'm paraphrasing. I think what he actually said was, in one sentence, was like, I like writing dark stuff. But this is what I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Well, it's him plus Zack Snyder, and it just...
Yeah, I mean, he worked on Blade.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And that worked.
But he also did Blade Trinity, The Invisible, The Unborn, 2 Call of Duty games, and Dark City. So
but that's like code for he's not a good choice for Superman.
See, like, okay, he wrote...
you know what I mean?
The Unborn, Black Ops 1 and 2, which have really good stories, and the darkness works because it's set in the 60s during the Cold War.
No, I'm just saying that, like, everything he's written is screaming that he's not a good choice for a Superman movie.
Exactly.
But he's not necessarily a bad choice. I just feel like
he's
like,
definitely
not a bad writer.
Choice. He's not a bad writer because he does, I wouldn't give him responsibility for Batman Begins and Dark Knight, because I think Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan have a lot of more responsibilities for those movies, but David S. Goyer is more of a contributor, and anytime he's like the sole writer, it turns terrible, because even before Batman v Superman came out, we heard that Chris Terrio came in to do a whole not a whole rewrite, but rewrote the script that David S. Goyer did, and even then, the foundation of that movie, which was David S. Goyer's draft, still became a huge mess.
Well, I think something that
personally, I don't think he's a good writer.
I don't think he's a bad writer. I just think that there are certain genres he can write and certain ones he can't. He's
well, that's why I brought up.
He doesn't have a lot of versatility.
Black Ops, the Black Ops games. Yeah, those are actually really well
done.
Yeah,
he's not a very versatile writer, and I feel like if he was kept in his element per se, he's like at least consistent.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I feel like I wouldn't want to put him in a box where he can never write something out of it. I just feel like based on what we've seen so far, he's not the kind of person you want to attach like a lighter character to, or just like a lighter film.
Well, they the best example of that is in the Justice League trailer when Batman's like, he was a symbol of hope, and it's like, fucking when did they ever establish that? It seems like everyone hates Superman.
Yeah,
well, and he comes off as really arrogant,
but they just keep telling us that they don't. They everyone's like, he's the symbol of freedom and hope, and then in all the movies, everyone's like, oh, fuck this guy.
I think Batman v Superman really shit the bed by killing him off, because that's one of the best things that happens.
He wasn't really in it. He didn't do anything in the movie.
Superman?
He didn't affect the plot in any way.
I mean,
except for at the end.
I don't know about that.
Like, he had no direct action that did
I mean,
anything.
Everything that I
even
feel
when
like
Congress blew up,
stuff
that wasn't his fault.
Well, I think I kind of get what you're saying. It's like a lot of the actions that everyone around him, like their actions were instigated and motivated by the presence of Superman, and Superman was sort of
there.
Yeah, he was sort of like reacting to it. I think this whole universe kind of shit the bed with Superman, and I feel like Superman as a character gets a really bad rap because, again, it's so hard to write him correctly to make him interesting. I feel like,
well, yeah, he's an unkillable, super powerful, all-powerful god monster thing.
Right, and I feel like that's only present when he's written badly.
Yeah,
I feel like the only really good
because he had a whole childhood, a whole life on Earth, like
right.
It doesn't show up anywhere.
Right, and I feel like that was another thing coming back to Man of Steel. A big waste of potential was killing off Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
because like that, having his parents stick around. I mean, not to say like it would be a straight ripoff of what I'm about to bring up, but the Superman animated series from the '90s, which was in the DC animated universe, like one of the best things about that show is that both of his parents, Pa and Ma Kent, were alive through the entirety of that show. Even into Justice League, they're still characters in that show.
Yeah,
and they still interact with Superman, and like there's moments in that show where like they interact, and he's like still a kid. I think one of my favorite moments, I think it was from Justice League. It could have been from the Superman show, but it's Christmas, and he's on the farm with them. And because Superman like has see-through vision, but the only thing he can't see through is lead, he looks at the presents and he's like, "Why can't I see through this?" And it was like, "Oh, we laced all the presents with lead." And he's like, "Oh, Dad, come on." It's
and
like
then they all get cancer from the lead poisoning and die.
I mean, yeah, sure, but it's like stuff like that. It's cute, and it's like, yeah, they have an alien son who's unkillable, but he has charm and charisma, and he's not an asshole, and he's not like super dark. And I think that Batman v Superman's biggest problem, more than Lex Luthor, more than making Batman a serial killer, is that they made Superman even worse than he was in Man of Steel. And I like Man of Steel because it's a flawed Superman, and I like the idea, but I feel like Batman v Superman,
they just didn't spend enough time with his like.
Well, this is
human
what it is. Not only that, but in the comics or just in Superman movies, they establish what it is about Superman that makes him a figure of hope and why he's looked up to. And I feel like they didn't establish it. They just assumed
they just kept showing
Superman,
Jesus.
imagery. Yeah, exactly. Because it's Superman.
Like, why did they build a statue to him if everyone hates him?
Yeah,
right. But just because of his status as that character, they were like, okay, he is a symbol of hope and all these things.
Yeah, they think we'll just feel that.
And they have to establish it, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah.
What bothers me is that it's clear that whether it be David S. Goyer or Chris Terrio or whoever, but everyone involved in this, at least these two movies, don't understand Superman as a character because they think that just him being these things will make him interesting.
Yeah.
But they don't write him and like give him an arc. And I think that's why
I love the Injustice storyline, even though it's not. It's like so far.
I mean, it's a terrible Superman storyline because Superman's the villain.
I know, but that's why I like it because
actually,
it's
in
such
a way,
different.
that's kind of a good.
It's
Superman
such a different.
Story.
Well, there are better Superman stories where he's not like just a generic evil asshole like Red Sun.
Well, no, I mean it's because they hit the reason for it is like it's not just. He's not just a villain to be a villain,
right?
You know, and
he has
like
a reason,
different side.
But
you're saying a good heroic Superman story, and I think what's happening is you're using the term of good Superman story in a general sense, like all stories like involving Superman. Whereas what you're trying to say is like a good story that portrays Superman
like a hero.
in a heroic way.
But there are still other good Superman stories where he does do evil shit. Like again, coming back to the animated series. When Darkseid finally comes into Earth from Apocalypse, the first thing he does is mind controls Superman, and he makes Superman level Metropolis, cripple Supergirl, and he kills like one of the main human characters, like the Commissioner Gordon.
Well, that's what they want us to be afraid of in these movies, and they never present.
Yeah,
anything
and then
to
like
make us be afraid of that.
That's one of the best parts of that show, where it's like Superman does evil shit, and
he's even kind of the bad guy in the Dark Knight Returns, the second half.
Well, yeah, and again, like Dark Knight Returns, a great Batman story, but again, a terrible Superman story because it's again Frank Miller does great stuff, but I feel like he's one of those writers that he is great at what he does great, but when he tries to do something, he doesn't have good reach on, like where his range ends. Where I feel like Superman is outside his range as a writer. Like,
I don't know about that. I think he wrote Superman well, actually.
I think Superman just served his purpose.
Well, Superman, I feel like was the worst part of the Dark Knight Returns because
he wasn't one note at all. Actually,
no, I think he was because
because in the very end, remember when they're standing by Bruce Wayne's grave and Carrie Kelly is aware that Bruce Wayne's alive, and Superman hears the heartbeat and winks.
But that's just one moment. I'm talking about his entire character in that specific story because Superman in that entire story, all he does is listen to the president.
But there was a point. That was a political statement.
But
about what the government was.
Yeah, but that's the point of the plot.
It's also a Batman story, so they're not
I know, but again, that's the thing that is difficult with Superman is that the times when he is the worst character
they did a third
is
Dark
when
Knight,
it's
by the way, Dark Knight Returns.
They did.
Where Superman's portrayed really, really well.
Well, I haven't read that, but
I haven't read that either.
I'm just saying Superman suffers as a character when there's more attention on another character, and it's funny about Batman v Superman because there's attention to both of these characters, and they shit the bed on both of these characters.
Well, they misused a lot of the comic book plot lines they were trying to implement in the movie. A lot of it was very heavily influenced by Dark Knight Returns.
Obviously, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that fight scene.
Oh, that was one of the best parts.
That was really cool.
That should have happened way earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was cool. But I just feel instead of paying homage and taking parts that would make sense, they just kind of tried to full on do Dark Knight Returns.
Basically.
Yeah, and I guess that's true. It doesn't really work in accordance.
They just took out the entire
Man of Steel.
Joker.
Yeah, because you can't.
They tried to do the second half.
You can't do Dark Knight Returns without having a pre-established Batman and Superman in a way, and they haven't really established Superman because his Man of Steel was the movie when he became Superman. This is his origin story. There hasn't been.
He's
more
still kind of a dick. That movie ends with him blowing up a drone because he wanted to, and he's like, "Leave me alone." Fuck you. I don't know. He flies away. There's nothing about him that's the Christopher Reeve. I want to save people.
It's funny because I enjoy Henry Cavill as the Superman because he's
he's
doing the best with what he's got, but the character himself is just terrible.
They should show him I don't know, saving someone at a cost to himself or someone that he cares about, because then it's understandable why he doesn't want to save everybody.
Right.
But he keeps doing it even though he just literally is fine. How'd you get up on your stupid roof, you dumb bitch? It's a flood. You should be prepared. It's just I don't know.
I think the biggest problem with this universe, before Suicide Squad, and we'll get there, is that they just everything interesting or what could make Superman interesting as a character is never touched upon
because they want to be really philosophical.
Yeah,
and they're doing it terribly.
It's the Snyder's fault. It's both of them, him and his wife.
Well, I don't know what influence his wife had, but it definitely has a lot to do with Zack Snyder, not understanding Superman
really
as a character.
Into the Jesus imagery and the philosophy.
What is the philosophy? Because I swear,
Superman is a god. Is he a god symbol? Is he a religious
It's basically
figure?
what if Jesus came back and
the
put
second
on a
coming of
cape?
Jesus.
I did notice that they were alluding to it. But
alluding to it, in Man of Steel, there's a part where he falls out of a spaceship and he literally does the Jesus pose. He does the Jesus pose on the cross.
Even though it's not subtle, it's still an illusion.
Not subtle.
It's not subtle, but it's still
which
an
is
illusion.
fine. They just it's so hand.
It's totally exactly
it's
it
artificial.
is shoved down your throat.
Yeah. Which is why I said it's such an interesting idea. They just execute it so shit.
Yeah,
because they think we're not smart enough to realize it ourselves.
And I also feel there's not a lot of necessarily philosophy to that because I'm not saying that there isn't philosophy to Jesus in the New Testament and all that.
I mean, it's fine to have religious.
It's more interesting than just rehashing
and
old
I agree.
stuff.
But what I'm saying is the religious subtext isn't the problem at all. I think that's fine. I just think it's once you get past he's an all god.
There's no what's next.
There is no what's next. Yeah, right. It's he's a messiah figure. That's great. But what's he bringing? We don't even know what his motivations are.
Exactly.
Why he's doing what he's doing. He's not really bringing anything.
Yeah.
So all you're really saying is he's really powerful.
Which is why Batman v Superman suck, because he just doesn't. There's no next step.
And you know what we already know about Superman? That he's really
really fucking powerful.
Yeah. And the only things we know about Superman for a fact in this universe in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman is that he is powerful and that he's a religious symbol. And I feel like those two things,
and he'll let everyone die. For
and like those things being so fucking prevalent and like on the surface about his character is like,
well, that's all he is. It's movies.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem.
And now they're gonna resurrect him like the second coming of Jesus.
The third coming of Jesus, to be really accurate.
Yeah, technically.
Right.
Like, I think those two things being so prevalent is very transparent
Based
about
on
how
Justice
none of
League's
these people
trailer,
get
not going to be a
Superman as
good
character.
gospel.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I want Ode to Joyce to start playing when Superman comes back.
I want his grave to be lined with jars that said Grandma's Lemonade on it, like in the fucking movie.
That was awful.
They had
Jesse
okay,
yes,
Eisenberg.
let's
We need to
talk
talk
about-
about
There's a
let's talk about
subplot with a jar of pee
Yeah, what a great movie.
that had there's no purpose.
Like, I think the only thing to show about P is that Lex Luthor's evil. And that's a sentence I just said.
He gives someone a jar of pee, blows up a handicap man, and shoves a Jolly Rancher into an old man's mouth. That's what he does in this movie.
You know what's sad about that was when I first heard about Jesse Eisenberg's casting, I was actually cautiously optimistic.
So was I.
Where I felt like even though it's a very different take, it could work. Because Jesse Eisenberg has played these like highly intellectual characters.
This movie is basically if Mark Zuckerberg decided to become Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I don't think it's his fault though, because they could have directed him differently. Again, I think the Snyder choices for a lot of these.
Yeah, it is so apparent that this movie disrespects so many characters in this universe.
We talked about Jimmy Olsen.
Well, yeah, like Jimmy Olsen. Like if you haven't
has 30 seconds.
If you haven't seen the director's cut, the photographer that gets shot in the beginning of the movie is Jimmy fucking Olsen, who's like one of the biggest supporting characters in Superman's like supporting
That
cast.
only pisses me off because Superman comes right after.
Yeah, and I think like the perfect like
Lois!
the easiest thing they could have done is like as soon as they're about to shoot Jimmy Olsen, boom, Superman like lands right in front of the guy. It's like that would have been a perfect moment for Superman. Would have kept Jimmy Olsen in this universe, and you wouldn't have been a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Like, in terms of writing this movie, it just boggles my mind how they would kill off Jimmy Olsen and Mercy, who's Lex Luthor's secretary, like the woman who gets blown up in the courthouse, the Asian.
Oh, the Asian lady.
Yeah, like again, she's a huge part.
I forgot she was in the movie.
Yeah,
I forgot too. That's why it took me a second.
And doesn't it piss you off to know that she literally has only a few lines and gets blown up by Lex Luthor?
Her only lines are in the scene when Batman's trying to hack into the server thing, right? That's it.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Wayne," and he's like, "I'm drunk," and that's the whole.
Even though he's like, "Oh, I thought this giant server room was the bathroom. I'm gonna take a piss on your computer," and she's like, "All right, bye," and then she dies.
Pisses me off because those two characters are dead. Pa Kent is dead. They waste Doomsday, and Lex Luthor is almost
has autism.
Yeah, basically, oh my god! Remember when we saw it in theaters, and the first line Lex Luthor does is "Oh, ahoy!"
It's almost as bad as Jared Leto's "A hunka hunka."
All right, I guess we should probably move on and talk about Suicide Squad then.
Yeah, that was awful.
I couldn't
mix between Jim. What was it that the honest?
Jim, he's Ace Ventura.
Jim Carrey's The Mask.
And what else? It crossed between Ace Ventura and
The Mask.
And just pure AIDS.
Why not?
And Hot Topic. Basically.
Honka.
I couldn't finish that movie. I made it an
then.
hour and like 20 minutes in, and then I was like so upset because the Joker is my favorite character of all time that I stopped. And I didn't pay money for it either. So that made me kind of feel a little better, but
I saw it out of the country, and I really heard and I just remember after the movie, I was like, "So how'd you guys like it?" And everybody's like,
"Like? What do you mean like? You can't like this movie."
It just I don't mean that. What I mean is like everybody had this expression of either laughing at how bad it was, or had this expression of like, wow, I'm surprised at how bad it was. Because we went with a friend, and our friend was like, I expected it to be that bad. He's like, as soon as I saw just like the overall like vibe of the trailer.
Yeah.
He's like, I knew it was going to be a bad movie, but I didn't think it would be this bad.
Well, that's the problem. The trailer was so well received, they thought their movie wasn't as good as the trailer, and then they hired the company that edited the trailer to make an edit of the fucking movie.
Yeah, so apparently there are 3 cuts of this movie that exist.
And
David Ayers...
There's 4. That guy on Reddit that redid all of it and made it actually decent.
I would like to see
what
that.
did he do?
He recut the movie.
He
took
recut
out the music.
Yeah, he recut the entire movie, took out all of the licensed songs, and he basically just restructured the whole thing.
And is it better?
I didn't watch all of it.
As best as it could be.
It's like it goes from being a dumpster fire to like actually kind of okay.
The Suicide Squad trailer was a really good trailer, and
it was.
Really
I mean, the best part about it was Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's just a good.
I don't know.
song.
We were excited when we saw Jared.
I was
Leto
excited.
Initially.
I mean, initially, but in retrospect, it is such a bastardization of this character.
Yeah. And the Joker is my favorite character ever.
But quite frankly, I feel that screwing up the Joker was one of the least big problems.
It's because he wasn't in it that much.
I think
so. That's why.
They
can fix it.
He was only in it for 7 minutes, so he wasn't the worst part of that movie.
Yeah.
I think the worst part of that movie, in my opinion, was Harley Quinn.
And I hated her.
Like,
and I love Margot Robbie, but I
love Margot Robbie. I love Harley Quinn. And
I didn't like.
I was so disappointed because that is the first live action interpretation of that character in a movie or
really?
TV show.
I didn't think she was that awful.
She forgot her accent a couple of times.
It's not even that. It's like in terms of her.
I think it's because visually she looks really good.
I like the design, and I think her playing the character was fine. But in terms of why
the writing for
I
her
have
was
such
bad,
but my bad blood for the movie
actually
against
didn't like
her character
her in the role at all.
is that her relationship with the Joker is again such a humongous misfire because everything
they
that
just
makes
didn't show it.
Because it's not that they didn't show it; they cut it out and reshot it because apparently they did test screenings and
because abuse is cool now.
No, and they were like,
hot topic.
Hot topic, the movie really. But people said at the test screenings they didn't like how the Joker was mean to Harley Quinn.
But that's still in the movie.
No, it's not. Not to the level that they shot. If you he fucking electrocutes her brain, throws her in a vat of fucking acid. And apparently that's still nowhere near as... That's not what was originally shot. There are scenes, like, if you watch leaked footage on set of that movie, between those two, there's stuff that you would see in these, like, on-set leaked videos that didn't make it in the movie. Like, a scene where Harley Quinn and the Joker are talking, and the Joker just straight up slaps her. Like, and she's still, like, clinging on to him, talking to him. Like, that's something that would happen. But why? I don't know. You can't hear the context. But that's something that would happen, like, between the two of them. Joker just mistreating her. Like, she's just a means to an end for him. She's just, like, not anyone he really cares about. And it's just, like, an instrument.
See, that would work if they implemented, like, how they have in the animated series where he just... is such a fucking asshole to her.
Well,
and Batman shows her kindness.
Well, yeah.
And she accepts it and is, like, very vulnerable with Batman.
Yeah.
But they don't have Batman, so it just looks like abuse. And it's just
that is a big problem. Also random, but I want to go back a little bit. When I mentioned that it was out of the country, my reasoning for pointing that out was because I just wanted to say that it's not just
if
like...
other people were as retarded as Americans.
It's not just like... a thing where just in the U.S. has it been, like, panned. Yeah. Literally just seeing it somewhere else.
The entire world hated this movie.
Exactly. The entire world hated
That's why North Korea is sending missiles over. Let's be honest.
Really? I thought it was because of the interview. Oh, they're sending a
honka
of missiles at us. That's awful.
I want to live in the world where honka is a unit of measurement used by the government.
He looks a lot better in Blade Runner, though. Leto's
a good actor.
I thought you were going to say the Joker.
No, Leto's a good actor.
And Jared Leto is a very good actor.
He's the only man that's won an Oscar and a Grammy, and I hate him for it, but I also love him at the same time.
I enjoy Jared Leto, but...
So do I. I don't know if he deserved the Grammy.
I mean, I like 30 Seconds.
I do, but I don't think they're Grammy-worthy.
No, they're guilty
pleasure. They're 21st century Grammy-worthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I can get that. I can get behind that. Yeah. I think what's apparent with this universe up to Suicide Squad is that every actor they get works with what they're given. And
yeah,
even though
and he was not given he was given a lot, but they cut out a lot.
Yeah, and even in retrospect,
you know what it was?
super
all the
upset
behind the scenes press ruined it because they documented his method acting so well.
Yeah,
that
like oh my god, this is gonna be the best thing.
Yeah,
ever.
We expected some crazy
for 7 minutes.
asshole,
like
and we got nothing.
Had they not hyped his character up in the movie, it's like okay, he's in it, but like for less than 10 minutes.
They should have just kept. I don't know why they cut him.
Here's another thing.
I think that has to do with the test screenings where they're like the Joker.
Here's another thing though. They hyped him up to be like psychotic and super insane, like the craziest Joker yet.
He's just a hot topic gangster. He does nothing.
In interviews, they
Fuck my wife.
But in interviews, they were literally like, we're going like a mobster approach. He's going to be a little less crazy. And I was like, wait, you hyped him up to be insane, but he's actually just like a mobster with makeup on.
They're making him like a worse Black Mask was what it reminded me.
Yeah, I had the same vibe as well. Yeah,
except for the whole scene. I don't know why they cast Common. That still pisses me off. Do you want Harley? No. Do you want Harley? No. Fuck you! And then he just shoots him in the head, and I'm like, all right.
They were trying to demonstrate that he was crazy and did not come out
but it just made him seem like a total fuck.
Yeah,
and like
yeah, you're right.
You know, so stupid.
That movie sucks balls.
My favorite thing, though, is when he walks into that back room and he's like,
you know what's sad?
Hunka! And I'm just like, fuck you.
You know what's sad? Captain Boomerang was the best part of Suicide Squad.
Jai Courtney was the best part of Suicide Squad.
Terrible actor, but he was the most charismatic person in the whole movie.
I figured out why. It's because he was a model before he started acting.
That makes sense.
Like Cara Delevingne, every model that tries to act is just absolute shit.
Can we just point this out, though? The first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie were, like, good. Like, the first 20, I was on board. I was like, this is going to be fun.
You were...
And then I was so wrong,
that. I thought the movie...
Oh, really?
Shit the bed the minute it started. Because the minute it started, it's like...
Because it reminded me of the
license
trailer
song after license song after license song, and the editing is like, okay, none of these songs fit.
I know, but
it's kind of from scene to scene.
I thought it was going to be fun, though.
I expected that from the trailer. So I was ready for that.
I didn't want that because it didn't seem like it would have fit a movie.
At first, I was like, I'm okay with this if it's like decent. Like, because then if you want to pander, like, then it's whatever.
I think it was pandering because they're just playing like. First of all, if they're obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy comparisons are appropriate, but it's not even consistent with
it was a mistake for them to recut the movie to be more like the trailer.
Well, yeah, and I think that's true, but even like excluding Guardians comparisons, like there isn't a consistency, like a theme running between song to song to song. It's like, oh, we have the rights to this song. Let's use this.
Like, you didn't like the Deadshot scene with Deadshot and Batman?
No, because Batman just falls from the sky. He's like, Deadshot, you're coming with me, and then his daughter's like, no, and then Deadshot's like, okay, bye, daughter.
They
like,
only included that.
It was cool seeing Deadshot and Batman in a scene together.
Like in concept.
It wasn't Deadshot.
It was but in
he was Will Smith. He wasn't Deadshot.
Like,
he just played himself.
That's fine, but Deadshot's not like
Deadshot sucks. Period.
Deadshot's not the most iconic character.
The guy Smith did him a service.
I actually like the version of him that was on Arrow.
Yeah, he's okay in Arrow.
And he's alright.
Really?
Like, I get you, but he did a good job of playing Deadshot. But Deadshot is such a meh character that Will Smith actually made him better.
Deadshot isn't. I kind of agree with you on that. Deadshot's not most.
I just saw Will Smith, iconic, and he refused to wear the mask. So it's like, fuck you.
Like, again, Deadshot's not a huge character that I have an investment in personally, but again, just from everything I've seen him from the Justice League cartoons, from Arrow,
Will
from
Smith
the video games, Deadshot is not an interesting character.
So then don't make him the lead.
Well, he's
the lead in the Suicide Squad.
Well, no, I'm saying what they should have done is not had Will Smith and just cast someone else, and then had more emphasis on.
Quite frankly,
Rick Flag.
I think they should have saved Will Smith for for an actual superhero, because having him as another character in the universe really would have paid off.
No, I'm not trying to bash Will Smith.
I love Will Smith too, but like wasting him on a character as useless as Deadshot is a disservice.
That's what I'm saying. They should have not had him there. And
like
had Rick
having
Flag
Will Smith in this universe is a steal, because Will Smith is has so much presence.
Yeah,
I feel like they could have cast.
He made the movie better.
He carried the whole movie.
He was definitely the one who carried the movie, without a doubt. That being said, the movie sucked dick.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I hated the movie as well, but there were little moments where I won't lie, like, for me, the Deadshot Batman scene is like
I thought
a guilty
the little
pleasure.
scene
You
in
know
the
what I mean?
bar was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, like they have little moments
when they slow
where
down.
It's very cool.
See,
Yeah.
I completely disagree. I thought
He
that...
hated all of it. We're trying to
This
find
is-
the
No,
silver lining.
I'm
No,
saying
I can't. This is one of those very,
Uh-huh.
very few movies I've ever seen where, for
Hated
me
everything.
personally,
Toby,
a
I
silver
couldn't
lining
finish-
does not exist.
I couldn't finish the movie.
Oh, you see, I did, and I am worse because of it. I can't find a silver lining in this movie, not because I don't want to. Trust me. I
The
don't
CG,
want...
okay, the CGI when
They look like
when she
marshmallow
trans-
soldiers. They look like giant marshmallows,
Oh
and
my
when
God.
they shoot
When
them,
okay,
they turn into
can we
s'mores.
talk about
Did
how
you see
El
that?
Diablo transforms into Ghost Rider at like Coachella?
Yeah.
Where
How
he,
did
like,
he
has
die?
I
He
don't
just
They
know.
blows up
burned
or
him, and he has
something.
fire powers.
It was like, I killed my wife. I'm gonna explode, and then he just turns into a fire.
I'm gonna cry.
That movie
No,
just
but the
sucks
transformation
so bad.
from June to Enchantress that they did
Oh
with the
my
when the
God.
hand comes up,
That was cool.
that was the only
like
moment
there's
that I
cool
liked.
visual stuff in the movie. Like the stuff in the Enchantress kind of looked cool.
Her
Her
I
little
think-
dance is very
okay,
funny.
Yeah,
Here's
her
what I'll say
origin
this.
was bullshit.
Here's some silver linings. I think that some of the CGI
Her name's
looked
June
okay.
Moon.
Yeah, but she's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find. Oh, look, a relic. Let's break it on the rocks.
and then everyone finds her. She's like in a bathtub of black tar.
Like,
She's
I'm
"Help
pretty
me!"
sure that's your first day of archaeology class. You're like, okay, don't break anything. And she just goes, oh, there's probably some shit in here. Maybe I can just use it to take a poop. And she breaks the head off. And I'm
Why
like,
is it that
fuck
every
you.
movie archaeologist does stuff archaeologists don't do, which is break shit?
I
Like
don't
Indiana
know.
Jones,
You're right.
to like Laura Croft and June Moon.
Well, Indiana Jones, though, for the record, on the bright side, like at the very end of the movie, not only does he never keep the treasure, but it always gets given back to whatever supernatural.
It
source
belongs
is
in a
around it.
museum.
It's like
You know what
Uncharted.
I mean?
It's like Uncharted.
respectful, kind of. Yeah, Uncharted 2.
Even though he's not an archaeologist.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then he like
He's just poor.
oh,
he's a fuckboy professor.
so is Indiana Jones though.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I thought you meant Uncharted. I
No,
was
Nate's
like,
just literally a poor
Oh, that
kid.
too. But so yeah, here are some silver linings I can think of. Some of the CGI looked good. Most of it was shit.
No, that was the only moment that
and
I
the
was
costumes looked good. That's it.
like, was it Oscar worthy? Was it
That's
Oscar
all-
worthy? No.
dude, Star Trek.
Oh yes, Suicide Squad is the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad,
Dude, literally, it won against Star Trek 3 when it came to makeup.
which is bullshit.
I know.
I think it's only okay. Killer Croc looked cool.
Yeah,
Killer Croc looked
yeah,
great.
cheeseburger Kawanishnumd for,
Oh yeah, my favorite actor.
you know? Here,
Let me look up his name so that
It's like
God, I've never heard us have such an endless
Edgio
conversation
for-
before. The DC
no,
universe.
that's Baron Mordo from Doctor Strange.
Wait, guys, can I just point this out here?
You're thinking of Adewale Adewale.
Oh, that was the supporting character from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Shut the fuck up.
That's literally his
Wait,
name.
guys,
His
guys.
name is Ottawale.
Guys, can we just address? Have we ever had?
Why do you remember this?
Because they just released it for free, and I downloaded it.
Have
'cause I
we
was
ever
bored.
had
You're
like?
cancer.
Shut up.
Have we ever had like an endless conversation like this? Because I swear, just talking about the DC universe is enough to keep us
Has
like,
broken
going
us.
for days.
Wait,
you know?
look. So Adewale Akanuyu Agbaja.
Sure.
Okay, we need to move on from Suicide Squad because this is just depressing me. Let's
There's-
talk about Wonder
Yeah.
Woman.
I thought it was fine.
I liked it a lot, but not as much as everyone else.
It's definitely the best movie in this universe.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
it's
But all
also
the other ones suck.
yeah,
So
it's not
like,
saying much, but still, even then, without the baggage of the rest of this universe, it's still a good movie.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
it's,
I actually
Again-
walked out during the beginning, and then I came back because I thought the beginning was so fucking boring.
It's funny that you said that because I thought the first two acts were like really, really enjoyable, but the third act was just terrible.
I liked the second act a lot.
see, I'm on
But
the.
then she fought the professor from Harry Potter, and I was
Yeah.
like,
That was
fuck
awful.
this.
I'm
But the
of a
island was
different
so
mindset.
boring. It's the House of Cards lady going, "You're special," and then that's it.
Again, I really wish I could watch movies the way you do, where everyone's just breathing heavily.
Honestly, I wish that's how it was, because then that would have kept me interested.
Even the worst of movies would be entertaining.
Suicide Squad would have just been like,
Oh,
no, they literally do that.
When he keeps snorting, I think of that movie with the pig. What's it called?
Sure.
Charlotte's Web.
Babe.
No, Babe. There you go.
Okay, I don't know this movie.
You
the
don't know
pig that
Babe?
talks like a human
Yeah.
and doesn't snort?
Yeah.
Why does that remind you of Babe?
Because you're snorting like a pig.
You're dumb.
I know.
This is disgusting.
See, I'm of a different mindset of you guys where I think none of the acts were like terrible. I thought the movie was consistently good throughout.
I thought you were going to say consistently, like, bad.
No, I
was waiting for that.
No,
You caught me off
I
guard.
don't think any of us think Wonder Woman is bad.
I didn't
I think I liked it the most out of the three of us because
no,
I didn't.
I liked it. I just, like I said, I went to go poop during the first act, and
That's defensible.
I never leave. Like, even if I'm gonna like shit my pants, I never leave a movie.
The third act just pissed me off because the way they handled Ares was so god awful.
I thought they were gonna
impressive.
have like giant mecha Hitler come out or something.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, here's the thing. The movie was good. Like, I was enjoying it up until it came time for, like, the final, like, villain confrontation.
When they get to the airfield.
Right. From then on, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
before that, it was, like, totally solid.
I will say this: I do respect the movie for killing off Steve Trevor because I was afraid they were gonna like do some bullshit.
I
No,
agree.
that was cool. But they could have handled that better. Like, way better.
Like I think Ares as a
It's one sentence. He's like, I'm gonna go, and then you can't hear anything he said.
They killed him. They MacGuffined him. They
Yeah.
killed him with a
Yeah,
MacGuffin.
an Egg McMuffin.
Get the fuck out of here.
MacGuffin. Literally, the whole bomb thing is just a MacGuffin, and then they kill him.
McMuffin.
Wait, hold on.
God
Let me look up MacGuffin because I forget
A
what that means.
MacGuffin is like the doomsday clock or like the bomb that's gonna blow up everything.
An object or device in a movie or book that serves merely as a trigger for the plot.
Yeah, that's exactly what
That's what the
happened.
bomb was. Like,
Yeah.
literally, there was no other. They didn't need that. They just needed something for the humans to do.
Yeah,
And then
I
they
can
set
see
up the
that.
Native American
Also,
guy.
did he actually say "I love you"? Because she couldn't hear him. So.
I don't remember.
No, they did. She did. No, what
think
happened
he
was
did,
is that
didn't
he whispered into her ear. It's silence, and then they cut back to that later when she's like dying, and then she hears it again
For some reason, humans aren't that bad.
Oh, okay.
Big Harry Potter boy.
Ew.
Humans are not that bad.
When I saw his mustache when he was like chained against the wall,
I know when they flash back and he goes, "Her!" like a really buff body on this like sickly British man. I was like,
It was just
really.
It was just funny because it's like you're looking at all the Greek gods. I don't want to like be rude towards this actor because he's a great
No,
actor.
he plays the Harry Potter professor part. Like
Dumbledore.
No, but let's address this.
no, he's the one that turns into a werewolf, and even
Yeah,
as
Professor
Dumbledore.
Lupin. guys, he played. He's a good actor. I think he played the role well. He just didn't have the right look. For
No, he
it.
played the British politician role well. He didn't play the supervillain role well.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
How Diana, look at my mustache. I have tea in it.
Here's the thing, though. If they went this Amazing Spider-Man 2 route, where Jamie Foxx's like split teeth actually gets fixed when he turns into Electro, and they had his mustache fall off or
You know, I'm
something, it wouldn't
surprised.
have
I'm
worked at
surprised
all.
no one died after that movie from trying to fix their gap with electric eels. I feel like that's something that would definitely happen in this country.
No joke.
Oh, you've tried it? Did it work?
I was gonna say joke, but I didn't know what the joke was, so I'm just gonna change the subject and we're gonna talk about Justice League. So Justice League, by the time we're recording this, is not out yet.
I don't want to see it.
Well, you're gonna see it.
I know, but I don't want to.
You know what's
Okay.
sad is Jason Momoa excited me as Aquaman, but the more and more I see of him, he starts to like kind of annoy me.
Okay, so from the
Yeah, he's riding on the back. Every scene of him in the trailer is
He's
him going.
riding something.
It's him going, yeah! While he's like riding something.
You're totally right.
He's gonna be on like two like little fish, and he's like, yeah!
he definitely has like the surfer dude bro,
Which is
persona.
fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I mean,
that.
That's
it's
totally cool.
It's Aquaman.
Like I
It's
feel like
why?
with any other
Yeah,
character,
Aqua.
with any other
Yeah.
character where they like drastically change their persona, I might have a problem with it. But with Aquaman, who has like this,
the stupidest backstory of anyone.
not
ever.
the backstory, just like him
Doesn't
being
really have a
seen by the.
personality. Yeah.
Him being seen by the mainstream like is the most useless character ever. Like making him accessible and fun to watch.
I love.
I'm
Jason
okay with
Momoa.
it.
Yeah,
I think like in terms of casting, like everything about Aquaman,
You just can't
I'm
have.
fine with.
There's two fun characters because Ezra Miller is fun.
I'm
They're very
actually
different,
okay.
though.
That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most because Ezra
At first,
Miller.
I was pissed. I wanted them to bring Grant Gustin over,
I mean,
even though they would never would have.
Yeah, I feel like
actually
it
after
would've
seeing
been-
the trailer, I was like, okay, I think he's gonna do.
it would have been
interesting.
interesting, but I feel like the DC TV universe is already so like
Awful.
it's not awful, like
Terrible.
Like
You definitely filled.
I'll
in
say
that
this:
blank.
Arrow season 4
Kind of
is
okay.
worse than anything that happens in this universe. Arrow season 4 is
It's
so
worse than
fucking
anything
bad.
that's happened on TV.
It's
ever.
worse than the second season of The Walking Dead.
It's worse
which
than the
is so
ending
fucking
of
bad.
Lost.
It's worse than the original ending
Yeah,
to
that's
Mass
pretty
Effect 3.
stupid.
Arrow season 4 is literally the least favorite thing ever. Just
Yeah,
bad.
it's pretty bad.
Sure.
So like,
That's why Kim Jong-un is sending missiles over.
yeah, hunka
Hunka hunka!
That's what he's saying every time he presses the red button.
He just goes,
Okay. So like, I'm actually really looking forward to Ezra Miller as the Flash because, I mean, I've only seen him in 2 movies, which is Trainwreck, which
he was in Trainwreck?
remember when Amy Schumer has sex with the boy, or like was about to have sex with the boy, and the boy starts crying.
Those words should never be said ever again.
I agree, but remember when the boy starts crying and his mom is like, "That's my son."
I didn't see.
No.
Trainwreck.
The only 2 things I remember from that movie, actually 3, is the John Cena scene, LeBron actually being funny, and Bill Hader.
Yeah, that movie sucked. And he was also in Fantastic Beasts,
Guys, I didn't even see
movie.
it, so I'm like, I,
which again
I'm
also
better
lucky.
off having that.
that was
yeah.
also pretty bad. But again,
I won't
Ezra
watch
Miller
it.
is a fine actor, but
Yeah,
everything I've seen of him behind the scenes.
Makes him look like a dick.
What?
Have you seen the I think it's a GIF.
Really, he looks like a really nice.
He looks like the most-
man
Really?
type.
Are you
maybe
kidding
maybe
me?
the only thing I've seen is the GIF where like Jason Momoa drops his trident and he grabs Wonder Woman's sword and just goes Huzzah! And he charges forward and Miller looks so unbelievably pissed. Like he just has no patience for that and he just walks away. That's the only thing I've seen from
Let
him
me see
behind the
this.
scenes.
Justice League behind the scenes.
Oh, I've seen that, but I
That was
don't
just
know.
the vibe I
I've
got
never-
from that. It's that.
It's this.
Just
Like,
from that
it's-
one GIF. And he just looks like he's just so done with all their shit.
Okay, he's
Like-
in that GIF.
See,
But
but that's the only thing I've seen of him. So
Like that's literally it's just him flailing his arms together because it was a bad cut. That's just a movie thing.
I don't know. If it was me, I would have laughed. But
I mean, I think he's.
I
not,
mean, how Gal Gadot's slapping.
it's not- it's
yeah.
not
yeah,
like-
exactly.
like I'm pretty sure.
But like I said, that's the only thing
it's
I've
literally-
seen of him
yeah.
behind the scenes. So
Oh well, if you see more of him, I mean, you can still think he's a dick if you want to, but he seems
Oh, I don't-
like really great.
here.
well,
seems like a really nice
it's a
guy.
testament to his like
think
performance that
all
I actually
opinion-
liked him after the trailer came out.
I'll say this: all opinions are defensible, but I'm gonna call you on your shit, you piece of shit.
I just said that's
You're
the
just
only
ju-
thing I've seen.
You're calling him a dick of like literally a third of a second of a GIF with no sound.
Yes,
You should watch the Comic Con
No.
panels.
I like my opinion.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'll
Last
watch it.
year he came.
But like I said, I came around after seeing the trailer.
Well, not even the trailers. I would recommend you watch the Comic Con panels because he seems like, of everyone in that cast, the most likable and genuine. Because last year he came dressed as Gandalf. Because,
Jesus
and this year he
Christ.
came dressed as Edward Elric. And it was just really funny. And when he talked about, someone from this year's panel asked, like, so where were you when you found out you were going to play your character? And he told like a really weird, funny story. It was like, well, I was in Cancun eating a fish, and my agent called me. He's like, Zack Snyder's on the phone, and he's like, well, I'm gonna continue eating this fish. And then I broke off the bone off my tooth, and then Zack Snyder's like, I want you to be the Flash, and he's like, okay, Mr. Snyder. He's like, he seems like a really likable guy.
Okay, then I kind of take it back.
Yeah, take it back, you piece of shit.
Eh.
What do you want from Justice League? Because there's a lot of things I want from this
A
movie.
good movie.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
just have it be good.
I want it to be good too.
I
but
just
I-
don't think it just looks like the most generic.
In terms of color, it looks really bland.
Yeah, but even the plot, it's like we're just gonna get together and fight CGI minion people,
Yeah.
and then fight the main guy who never met the rest of the cast when he was doing his motion capture.
Yeah. Well,
That
I
was-
feel like
That pissed me off when I heard that.
Yeah.
The
Oh, I'm
chemistry
forgetting
is
his
going to be so
names.
off with the bad guy.
Isn't it Syrian Hines?
I don't know.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
I can't remember
It's almost irrelevant.
Or no,
it's
wait,
sad, but
is
it kind of
Syrian Hines the one that played Scarecrow in the Batman?
No, that's Cillian Murphy.
Then it is Syrian Hines is Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. The only scene of Steppenwolf in the Justice League cartoon, he's in it for 1 minute. In the beginning of an episode, he's on like some sort of teleprompter where Darkseid is on his throne, and Steppenwolf is like, "My nephew, everything is going according to plan," and then he gets blown up. So like, this is the villain of the Justice League movie.
He's a really big villain, I think, in regards to Wonder Woman, because there are a lot of. He's one of like Wonder Woman's biggest enemies in particular. I'm just putting it out there, like in his.
Then I hope they focus on that because she's.
Dude, I don't know anything about it either. I just know this from like a few articles I read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's gonna be like a worse Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's kind of what it looks like to me.
Are you implying that Age of Ultron is a bad movie?
It wasn't bad. It was fine.
I actually liked it better than the first Avengers.
I agree.
I know it's an unpopular opinion.
I know it's an unpopular
James Spader
opinion.
was amazing as Ultron.
I know it's an
I love
unpopular opinion, but I agree with you. I think Age of Ultron is one of my favorite movies in the MCU.
I loved Spader as Ultron. That was one of the best villain performances. I don't know why people don't remember it. I thought it was one of the best MCU villains ever.
I agree.
I just mean in terms of the plot structure, like
it was very jam packed.
Yeah,
it was like
for sure.
Like, but compared to like something like Batman,
I mean, like
Superman,
I guess maybe the final fight looks exactly the same. Like they're just gonna fight hordes of.
But again, here's the difference. With DC, they don't establish their characters before doing a huge
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
So even though there's a lot happening, you know the characters already, so you can jump
Yeah.
in.
and we haven't even talked about Cyborg.
I was just gonna say, what do you think of Ray Fisher?
Okay, first of all, this is his first movie.
He's a Broadway actor.
Yeah,
So
I
at
think
least
he'll be great. I see no problem with him playing
Yeah.
Cyborg. I just don't like the character.
I completely.
I liked
agree.
him in the Teen Titans cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
it.
was awesome in that.
But Ray Fisher plays him very like straight.
Well,
Yeah.
we've only seen like 30 seconds of him
Yeah.
as Cyborg.
I guess, but
Let's
he
give
was
it a little
like-
more time.
And to
He's
be
like, you need to run over here.
and,
Aha.
and to be fair,
Yeah,
to be fair to, I'm assuming what Ray Fisher is going to do with Cyborg.
I know he has acting chops.
like
though,
Teen Titan
so-
is like a very like over the top
Yeah.
anime influenced show, and I'm fine.
It's just weird seeing a personality, like a cyborg with
Yeah.
personality, seeing a very straight
yeah.
cyborg.
I think that's the reason why Aquaman is so fun and goofy, because like if he was also like how he usually is, where he's like
That's
really
it'd be too
stoic,
many. It'd
there'd be
too many.
3 characters out of the 5 that are featured in this movie. Not counting Superman, which would be 6, but there'd be 3 characters in the movie that are like really stoic, and I think like having Cyborg as the other one is just fine. So,
Yeah, I just think he's gonna be just a CGI thing that punches stuff.
I mean, I would like for all the characters that this movie's going to be introducing.
Cyborg has such a cool backstory though. Like,
Yeah, he does.
They're not
Yeah.
even gonna touch on it.
Well, I hope they do.
Well, they're just gonna save it for the solo
Well,
movie.
no, actually, they're gonna have to because there's some parademon involvement with
I guess.
Cyborg.
Well, you know that's where
apparently
they-
he was made through a mother box. Like that's how he
Yeah.
was constructed.
Yeah.
But
so-
the reason they're putting them in Justice League now is so that because they don't think people would have gone to the solo movie if that came out before.
Well, this is a good segue to the future of the DC universe after this. We'll get to it later, but when DC like talked about all the movies they're currently working on, they didn't talk about Cyborg. So
Didn't he have a solo movie?
Well, yes, but like when they that was a couple years ago when they talked about the lineup of their
Okay.
future movies. But when they talked about it again at Comic-Con this year, the one movie they didn't mention was Cyborg. So people are thinking, oh, maybe Cyborg is like the Hawkeye of this universe, where he's just going to be a supporting
gonna be
character.
there.
So
I kind of feel it though.
But they introduced his part of his backstory in Batman v Superman.
for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, but at least they acknowledged it. So like,
I guess.
would they really not do anything with it?
I mean, I would like for.
Well, then maybe I hope he has a Hawkeye moment in Age of Ultron where we see like when they go to the farm.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite moments of the movie.
I have a question regarding like that scene in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
How come Lex Luthor hasn't done anything regarding? Or was that a Wayne Tech file?
No, it was a
Was
LexCorp.
That
Okay.
was LexCorp.
Why would Lex?
Why did they make a fancy trailer for all
How it-
4 of
he-
them, but they didn't do anything about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how come LexCorp had no involvement with any of the other characters?
I know.
How did he know to catch the foot? How did he get the footage?
I have an answer.
Okay.
Bad writing. There you go.
'Cause
So-
it just makes no sense.
So, while we're kind of skeptical about Justice League, there are other movies coming out in this universe. So,
Why did he only find 7 of them? Why couldn't he find more if this is a whole universe of
I don't
superheroes?
know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
There's just a lot of problems.
But that being said,
Because they're the only 7 that exist.
Yeah, with all these characters, with Justice League coming out, and us being skeptical about it, that's like as far as like what we have opinions to go by. So now I'm going to propose the question. We have movies we know are coming out. So what do you want from these movies that we don't have anything to go by? So like, I'm going to go down by all the movies that we know are going to come out after Justice League. And you just let's go around and like say what we want from them. Hopefully, like for this universe to get back on track. So right after Justice League is Aquaman, which comes out in I think 2018, and it's directed by James Wan. And here's the cast.
Great choice.
Absolutely great choice.
Unless they do Fast and the Furious, James Wan.
I hope it's Conjuring James Wan. So it's Jason Momoa, Willem Dafoe, Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson. I'm going to butcher this man's name. Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Temuria Morrison, Dolph Lundgren, and Nicole Kidman.
I love the cast.
That's a great cast.
Not a single
is.
problem with the cast.
Except for because I don't know who that is.
Well, whoever he is, he's playing Black Manta, which is
Okay.
fucking awesome. I'm so happy that Black Manta is going to be in this movie. And Ocean Master, which is like, they're doing Aquaman's 2 biggest villains in this movie, which is pretty cool. So I'm actually kind of hopeful for Aquaman because, again, this is a character that has literally no right to be cool.
Yeah.
At least in, like, most people's opinions. And I want this character to really succeed.
I mean,
Here's the
I
thing.
think it'll be fine. Jason Momoa is really good, so.
I think all the secondary, like, non-DC Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman characters are going to, in the end, have the better movies, you know?
Probably. If it's like the
Hopefully.
comics, hopefully.
Yeah, because I feel like they're allowing for more creativity with all the secondary characters.
There's less pressure.
Yeah, so I feel like
Yeah.
they're going to turn out to be the better movies.
I hope so.
So
I mean,
those are my
I really
thoughts.
want the solo Batman movie to be good.
I'm hoping that with
Deathstroke is the villain is what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
but there's a rumor that that's not the case anymore because they're like starting from square one for like the second or
'cause
third time.
They threw out Ben Affleck's script.
Yeah, because now it's Matt Reeves working on it.
Matt Reeves is a good choice.
But
Very
after
good
seeing
choice.
Planet of the Apes,
Totally down.
I'm actually
So-
excited.
The next movie confirmed to come out after Aquaman is Shazam, which is actually the one I'm really most excited
Same.
about because that is definitely going to be the most most unique because there isn't a character in either universe I think that is like Shazam.
I feel like it'll be like the Ant-Man of the Marvel Universe, where it's like...
DC universe.
I'm sorry, the DC Universe. Fuck.
Yeah.
What I mean is it'll be like the Ant-Man of the DC Universe, where, you know, even though he can be brought in to, like, main Marvel events at any point, he's kind of doing his own thing and has a bit of a different tone and more of a sense of humor where he's more comedic.
I don't know. The
Yeah.
Rock makes me nervous.
Well, he's not even in the movie anymore
Oh,
because
really?
Black Adam is getting his own.
What
movie.
other villain can they do?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know any other villains that Shazam has. Yeah. And they still haven't cast Shazam. I'm hoping John Cena because like they can cast a young actor for Billy Batson. Just have like someone as adorable and ridiculous as John Cena as Shazam. Totally game for
I
that.
agree. And you know what's funny about regarding The Rock as Black Adam is if it wasn't The Rock, Black Adam would have been the bad guy in the Shazam
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Just because it's The Rock, they're
They're
going
like,
to do
oh,
Black Adam solo movie.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't need to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
completely
here's the
agree.
thing.
I'm just
Black
sick of The
Adam's a
Rock.
great
I
character.
love The Rock, but I'm so fucking tired
I think
of him.
he's getting
Yeah, same.
oversaturated. He's like in everything. Like he
And
has
now
like,
if he runs
5 movies.
Well, now he's supposedly running for president. He put in his bid to run for
Well,
president.
hopefully that doesn't
No,
happen.
somebody else did it.
Oh, they
before
did?
him.
But then if he fails, his brand will be absolutely destroyed. So.
Well, regardless, the movie after that is Wonder Woman 2.
Wait, can we just, before we go on Wonder Woman, I just want to say this. Black Adam is really cool. He's like the Doctor Doom of the DC Universe where he runs his own country and things like
but
that.
like-
he's really cool. I just think The Rock isn't...
He's not a bad guy.
He's a
the best
fine
choice.
choice, but I feel like again, giving him his solo movie before
I guess
being
you're right.
a
Yeah, he
villain,
is a good choice, yeah.
I think like a
A
character.
great choice, yeah.
He should be the villain in this and then do the solo movie.
I just
completely agree.
worry they're going to go too, like, The Rock charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
with
That's
Black
why I
Adam
was
and not have him
worried.
just play Black Adam. Because
Yeah.
he looks perfect and he can totally
It's
pull
going to
it
be like
off.
Will Smith being Will Smith instead of
Yeah.
Deadshot, even though that kind of worked.
Regardless, Wonder Woman 2 is the next movie.
I don't really care.
I think it'll be good.
Apparently-
Even
That's
though
all I
I
have to say about it.
I love her, but like I don't
Apparently,
really care.
it's also going to be taking place before Justice League.
I'm okay with
like
that.
before all the other movies.
I'm okay with that. The best part of Wonder Woman was the World War I stuff.
Yeah, I would like to see like a Vietnam War thing, like her fighting in other wars with other villains.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's not much to say about it.
Yeah. Again, we're only going off by the fact that it's happening, so there isn't much to say. But I feel like with Wonder Woman 1 being good, there's only up to go from here, hopefully. After that, the next movie we have is, let's see, Cyborg, I guess. We'll see if that comes to pass. But
it could be really cool. We should resume
I think, quite
Judgment,
frankly,
but I feel like it's going to be just meh. Like, it'll just be okay.
I feel like the point of having a Cyborg movie is useless. Just make a Teen Titan movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, use Cyborg's movie as the Teen Titan movie.
Oh,
like, there's no reason to give Cyborg his own movie because, quite frankly, Ray Fisher, I don't really have anything to judge by because Justice League is his first movie.
I don't think he can lead his own movie.
I don't think he can carry his own movie, regardless of people like recognizing Cyborg as a character.
And the only issue is if he's playing him really straight, then Teen Titans would kind of work.
But again, you'd also have like people know who the Teen Titans are.
Yeah,
and they know who
some
Robin
personalities would like Robin.
Yeah,
Robin and Starfire and Beast Boy, I think would be fine as they are, but Raven and Ray Fisher's portrayal might clash because they're both very straight.
Well, if they have different, again, like,
unless they swap her out.
I mean, you
for
can't
something.
really have a super funny.
Well,
like,
again, they can
Raven.
also do different. They can also add different characters too, like Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I guess so.
And like, what other characters have been in the Teen Titans? Aqualad.
Aqualad, that's a good choice.
If
they-
Aquaman,
Wonder
so-
Girl, they can do all kinds of
They
stuff.
could do.
No, they can't do Wonder Girl.
Let's
Girl.
see. Green Lantern Corps. So instead of doing Green Lantern by himself, the rumor, or I guess what has been sort of announced, is that they're doing Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan, and Kyle Rayner.
I think that's a great way to go.
I think so too.
That's gonna live or
Green
die
Lantern
by
is
the
never-
cast.
Yeah, but Green Lantern's never been like a character where it's really centered around a one person. It's a whole like
Yeah.
world really. So I feel like it's better.
Well, that's why the
off
last
more
one was so
characters.
bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Even though Ryan Reynolds is awesome, but
Yeah.
I love Ryan Reynolds, but he just isn't really Hal Jordan. to
Yeah.
me.
It would be
Well, he
interesting
never-
though if they brought him back as Hal Jordan, but again, in the
He's
Justice
more
League,
Kyle Rayner to me.
I agree. I
that
feel
movie
like,
was just bad. He never saw the costume.
who would you have as Hal Jordan?
Oh, there was somebody that was in that was mentioned as being a good choice. He was the Lone Ranger.
Oh,
Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer.
I think he'd be a good Hal Jordan.
He's a good actor.
But I wouldn't be upset if he wasn't Hal Jordan. I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, definitely. Here's the thing about
The real life Jon
Harry.
Stewart.
Definitely not. Definitely not the real life
Idris
Jon
Elba
Stewart.
as Jon Stewart
Well,
would be amazing.
I think not Jon Stewart. I think Idris Elba is gonna die in Thor 3. That's just my speculation.
Probably.
If they do, bring him into the DC universe, have him as Jon Stewart, give him his own his own franchise already
because
because
he'd be awesome.
he deserves it.
I love Idris Elba.
He's so good.
He'd be awesome as Jon Stewart.
The next movie is Justice League Dark.
Here's the thing.
It depends on how this next one's gonna be.
Here's the thing.
Really.
Justice League Dark is one of those movies where it's including a lot of characters I love, like Constantine, Deadman, Zatanna.
Do you think they're gonna bring Keanu Reeves as Constantine again?
Definitely not.
No.
They're gonna go. They're gonna actually.
I'd be
follow the
okay with
source
that.
material
Yeah,
for it.
probably.
Okay, so let's do it this way. We kind of Okay, so let's actually go back. I want to hear your fan casts for the 3 Green Lanterns, and then we'll do Justice League Dark. So, who would you be your choice
I said,
for Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart? I don't know if Kyle Rayner.
We said Idris Elba, Arnie Hammer, and then Kyle Rayner. Oh, that's a lot harder. I don't really think about that. Do you guys know?
I think Idris Elba's a shoo-in for Jon Stewart. In terms of Hal Jordan, I'm trying to think of a really maybe Ryan Gosling.
Actually, I feel like he'd be a better
I just feel like
Rayner, like Kyle.
I
I feel like
seeing him in a Green Lantern costume would be kind of weird.
I feel like Kyle Rayner needs to be like a really young person because he's the more naive of the
So
two.
maybe an unknown.
What's his
would be
name?
better.
Taron
I was gonna
Egerton?
say I was gonna give a very controversial opinion, but what about Zac Efron as Kyle Rayner?
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with from Kingsman.
Taron Egerton, that's a great choice.
Yeah, actually, I think that'd be better.
That's a great choice.
Actually,
Because
Kyle
Zac
that'd be
Efron's
better.
almost, what is he, 30?
Kind of, yeah.
And Taron's, I don't know how old he is, but he looks much younger.
No, I agree. I'd actually prefer that over Zac Efron.
And we know he can handle
He's 27, so he's
but he
approaching
looks
his 30s.
much younger, and we already know he can handle action.
Yeah. Quite frankly, Taron Egerton is someone I would like to see in this universe.
I like him.
So, the Justice League Dark. So, who do we want as John Constantine?
Matt Ryan. I literally want the same content we had in the show. He was perfect.
He was good, but I
thought he
feel
was
like
good. The show
that's
wasn't
not
that
gonna
great.
happen.
It's not
like
gonna
wishful
happen.
thinking. So like no,
I know, but this is wishful thinking. We're
sure.
not confirming anybody's going to.
I know, but like in terms of like
these are fan casts.
Well,
yeah,
it's-
but like
it's like-
practicality, like
it's
knowing
like how
that,
they
like,
won't
Matt
bring the
Ryan won't be him in the
Netflix-
same way that Grant Gustin
Won't
can't be
be
the Flash.
Flash.
Who would you have like as a really established, prestigious actor as Constantine?
I mean, it's hard to say because Matt Ryan was perfect. Why don't they get Sting? They base Sting. Let's just get old Sting as John Constantine.
Oh man,
I'd actually be fine with that.
Well, you know they based how he looks on Sting.
Yeah.
that's pretty funny.
Who I would give? It's really hard to say because.
Okay, so I don't remember how to pronounce his name, but I think someone who kind of looks like him is the guy from Game of Thrones, Jamie Lannister.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
How do you don't even watch Game of Thrones and you know his fucking
Because I just watched a movie with him in it it was like a Netflix special.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Jesus.
Yes, or whatever.
He's also. I would see that.
He would be an
I'd be okay
interesting.
with that.
He would be an interesting one.
He's honestly a really good actor.
He really is a
Originally,
good actor.
before they did
There's-
the Matt Ryan show, I don't know why, but I wanted Jeffrey Dean Morgan to like be Constantine.
That's a very
But-
strange choice.
But the thing is now that I think about it, I want Flashpoint
Well,
and his Thomas
side-
Wayne Batman.
Yeah, that would be. Well, we'll get to Flashpoint.
Okay,
but
side note, there's a Netflix movie called Headhunters where Nikolai Coster-Waldau's the bad guy,
Ooh.
and it's actually really fucking good. Like, I don't want to spoil any of it. You have to watch it, but it's really
Alright,
good.
Here's the truth about Justice League Dark. These are such peculiar characters that I can't think of like A-list actors I'd want. I feel like it would have to be unknown actors more like to play some of these.
I mean,
I feel like
that's
they're,
not
they're
again
afraid.
just in terms
I
of like
agree, but they're afraid to do that.
just in
Of
terms
course,
just
yeah.
in terms of practicality, it's not going to happen because they do
Yeah.
need like stars to like bring
Right,
people
yeah.
in. So like, who would you have next as Swamp Thing?
Oh, Swamp Thing. Imagine a John Goodman Swamp Thing.
That's
You know what? That's
disgusting.
not a bad idea. Just like do voiceover for.
Yeah, it would work.
That would be
But I
cool.
don't know if his voice is like a voice that I necessarily want.
Andy
as-
Serkis.
Actually, yeah, I'd love it.
That would
I'm
be
down.
interesting. And they can do mocap too.
Just because he can give life to the most.
Imagine
Pointless.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Dead Man.
Wait, we'll get to him. But what about Etrigan the Demon? That's a great
I
character.
have no idea. I feel like you could just get a voice actor for that.
Yeah.
Like a famous voice actor from cartoons to do that one.
Yeah.
Well, there's the guy that plays Darth Sidious in the Clone Wars cartoon. That's like actually a really versatile voice actor, so I feel like he would be fine.
Yeah, sure. I think
Dumbledore?
Sure.
Okay. Dead Man. I think Keanu Reeves. Just bring him
I just
back.
love Keanu Reeves.
Bring
I'd be
Keanu
okay
Reeves
with
back.
Keanu Reeves as Dead Man.
Nicolas Cage.
And Zatanna.
That's the hardest one to
Yeah.
cast. Because I'm trying to think of an actress that like remotely resembles Zatanna, but I can also see.
I'm
playing
going to
her.
say Alexandra Daddario.
Is it weird that I was actually thinking that
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good choice.
You're
Yeah,
just
I
saying
think
that because she's gorgeous.
She is, but she also is, like, she looks like she could be pretty intimidating because she's got, like, those eyes that see through your
Yeah.
soul. I would love to see
Yeah,
her.
okay,
She would
I'll
be
agree
pretty
with you
cool as
guys.
Zatanna.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. She'd be pretty cool. Okay, so we'll
All right,
go
after that, we have Flashpoint, which I think
Should
could be-
reset the entire universe.
I
Even
agree.
if it's bad, if we have Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne Batman and they do the suit,
I'd be totally fine.
I'll
with
I
that.
would be
satisfied.
so happy with that, quite frankly. And again, Billy Crudup is Barry Allen's father, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor too.
I love him.
I hope they don't mess up.
Wait, is it the
Eobard
timeline
Thawne
where
in the show.
Martha becomes the Joker?
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I
I
thought.
hope Eobard Thawne isn't messed up because I feel like he's so crucial to like the Flash universe. That
Yeah.
if you mess him up, it'll mess up like just like the whole Flash movie series.
So the rumors are, because there isn't a director attached, the studios have been seeking Robert Zemeckis, who, in case you don't know, did Back to the Future,
Yeah, I
Who Framed
know.
Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit.
Either him
Forrest
or
Gump.
Matthew Vaughn.
After that, Matthew Vaughn, like you said, which would be a great choice, and Sam Raimi. I think those are three great choices. I don't know if this specific movie, but those are three great directors that would be so good to bring into this universe, quite frankly.
I mean, Sam Raimi doing Justice League Dark would be awesome.
Oh, look who's here. It's Bingo the Beagle. Come here, boy. Come here, buddy. You want to talk about DC? Huh?
He leaves.
Yeah, he's such a good boy. Anyways, I don't know who would be great in terms of directing it, but there was a time when Lord and Miller, the guys behind 21 Jump Street and the Lego Movie, were attached to this, but they went to do the Han Solo movie.
Yeah, and then they left.
They got fired by Lawrence Kasdan. So I'm hoping now that they're basically ready to be hired again, that they bring them onto Flashpoint, because they're such great writers, and the Flash is such like a great character. It would be a great.
Well, they have the right sense of humor.
Exactly,
Flash,
for the Flash. I completely agree.
Yeah, the Flash is kind of one of those characters where he's kind of like a dark comedy where even though there are really goofy moments, it's almost kind of like similar to Spider-Man, where there's like a dark history there, but there's a huge like comedic layer that covers it, and in a way it makes the darkness like darker. I feel like when you make a joke that implies some sadness, it usually makes the sad thing a lot deeper. Way. So I feel like that route with the Flash.
That's why black comedy is really a thing.
Yeah.
So can't really talk about the Justice League sequel, but we can talk about the Batman, which is going to be directed by Matt Reeves.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's what I don't know why I just said it like that. I'm cautiously optimistic.
The rumor was at one point, I don't know if it's
cautiously.
I guess.
I don't know if this is still the case, but there was a point in time when
they cast
said
Deathstroke.
Well, yeah, Joe Manganiello or whatever.
And Deathstroke.
Yeah, but there was a point in time when they said that this movie is going to be like, I forget how they labeled it, but it's going to be the quintessential Batman movie because it's going to have all of his villains. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool, because again, this is like,
or it could have been another Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but I would like to see who they bring. Like,
I would love to see like villains. Clayface and all that.
Quite frankly, if they're going to do a Batman trilogy in this universe, I wouldn't mind them doing like their own version of the Arkham series, because that's
that'd be cool.
That is those are three great stories.
My one issue with the Arkham series is that they brought back, even though I love Mark Hamill, I wish Scarecrow was a bigger threat. Yeah. Either that or get rid of him and have the Arkham Knight be.
That's true.
Because that plot twist was so
I just feel like they brought back the Joker because they know the Joker sells. But I feel like you have to stick to your guns when you kill off the Joker.
My issue with Rocksteady is that they're really good. Like, they might not have written the best story, but they're really good at telling it.
Yeah.
Like, even though that twist when it was Tim was
which
like,
pissed me off because I saw it a mile.
Exactly, but the way they told it with like how they showed the chair and they like, you know what I mean?
Wait, Tim? You mean like Jason Todd Arkham?
I mean Jason, not Tim.
Yeah, Tim Drake's the third Robin.
Yeah,
that pissed me off just because I feel like what was the point of doing Arkham? They basically did the Red Hood story,
but exactly,
just with Arkham Knight.
Yeah, it pissed me off.
But the way they told it,
just
like,
Red Hood.
Like when they had, or at least like the part I don't know if you remember at the end when Batman's trying to fight Joker like in his head, and you have that one scene, that part when you play as Joker with a shotgun.
Oh, that was so cool.
And you have the Batman statues keep popping up no matter what you do. Like the way they tell their stories are really good, even if their stories aren't that.
I think that game is fantastic, just excluding the Arkham Knight part of the story
and the Bat Tank. I hate the Bat Tank.
I enjoyed it.
They used it too much. I liked that they put it in.
Yeah,
but. Like the Deathstroke boss fight,
you
just fight in Night. When the Arkham Knight leaves, Deathstroke comes in to like head up the army, and if you get to the point where you fight him, it's another tank battle.
Oh, lovely!
God, I'm so disappointed that they're not doing Deathstroke because that would have been such an amazing choice.
They haven't confirmed that they're not doing it, but because they're redoing it from the ground up, it's up in the air.
Oh, because wouldn't that be awesome?
I think it would be
Deathstroke movie.
I think it would be really.
I like that he's like an older, seasoned Batman.
Same, and Deathstroke
don't like that he
older
killed.
Seasoned.
Yeah.
It would definitely be really cool because they could have like a sort of martial arts.
Yeah, and I thought, what was his name from Arrow? The guy that played him.
Yeah, Manu Bennett.
Manu Bennett. Yeah, I thought he was great. But I don't know if he'd work on with Affleck as well.
You know what they could do, actually? Imagine if Batman decides, I don't want to kill. That's the wrong thing to do. And Deathstroke, because Deathstroke's a bad guy and kills people, Deathstroke can be like a dark mirror to Batman.
They could even do, I mean, if they wanted to, they could do a Red Hood.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Because that hasn't been done in film yet.
Yeah.
And they certainly set that up in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
That Jason Todd is dead. And they are doing a Nightwing movie, which is another segue.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you want as Nightwing? Someone who, again, would be very physical and like a mini Batman.
That's really hard.
I could see Gosling. Yeah, even though he's too prolific, you know? Like, he's too known. Someone with his personality.
I know this is going to sound stupid, but how funny would it be to have Matt Damon as Nightwing? Because we have Ben Affleck as Batman.
That would be the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
I mean, he's definitely proven himself in the Bourne series.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wouldn't be
I think he's too old,
No, but it's
though.
his age.
He's too old.
It's his age.
Yeah, that's true, because he is, like, more or less the same age as...
Nightwing's, like, what? Mid-20s?
Yeah. And they are making a Batgirl movie, which has Joss Whedon to direct. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of who they would have to play her, I would go with Anna
Aaron
Kendrick.
Taylor-Johnson as Nightwing.
I thought you were going to say it's Batgirl. I got really fucking scared.
No, it's Batgirl.
Aaron Taylor-Johnson would be a good Nightwing.
That's
actually a really good
choice.
choice. But in terms of Batgirl,
so Barbara Gordon.
I was thinking Anna Kendrick.
I'd be okay with that.
But again,
I don't know.
I
If
don't
she's
know.
Physical.
I don't know if she would
Actually,
be willing. Like I haven't seen her in like any action stuff. You know.
She was only in The Accountant, and she had no stunts or anything in that movie.
Well,
So
it's not even that. I just feel like her general like personality. I can see it working, but I feel like it isn't really Batgirly.
Fair enough.
She plays kind of like that quiet college campus, like her Pitch Perfect character. Like I hate that I've seen those movies. I've only seen the first one. I think. But the character she plays in that seems kind of close to what she would be like in real life.
I just feel like Batgirl's really gritty. You know what I mean?
She can be, but she's definitely the most lighthearted Batman character, or at least of
I don't know.
the
I'd
Bat
say
family.
Nightwing is the second to last. Yeah,
I feel like Nightwing has, because Dick Grayson certainly grows up to be a lot more of a stern character, and Batgirl's like the more lighthearted one of the Bat family.
It depends.
Well, you got to remember when she got shot by the Joker.
Well, yeah, but like,
I wonder if they're
at
gonna
that
do.
Point, but I'm talking about as her Batgirl.
Well, maybe
so, like,
initially, yeah.
it's
but
technically
now,
two
like
characters.
New 52. Like,
Yeah.
After the suit, what is it? Blanking. What is it called?
They could do
Suicide
the
joke. After
the killing joke.
Killing joke, but the suicide joke. After
that movie.
Yeah, but that point forward, I feel like Batgirl was like a darker character.
Yeah.
And I feel like they should represent her in that light.
But
they should
I disagree, because they're doing a Batgirl movie and not an Oracle movie, and because Batgirl.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna just do a one and done.
I don't know, because
I don't know if
Jeff Johns has said he's gone on record in saying that he's wanted to like expand the Batman aspect of the universe. So I'm thinking like they're gonna do
Maybe
multiple movies.
I wonder if they're gonna
for each character.
I'd be okay with. I don't know if she'll be old enough, but the girl that plays Catwoman on Selena Kyle on the Gotham TV show.
I think she's too young. She's like.
I think she's
only,
like 17.
Yeah.
18.
18, 19.
I really don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe Ruby Rose. Remember she was in John Wick 2?
But she doesn't have a nice side. You know what I mean? She doesn't. She's a Batgirl, but she's not a Barbara.
Yeah, I see her.
I can see that. Yeah.
I see her as a bad character, or just like a.
She could be a Poison Ivy.
Yeah, that's more upper speed. I'd agree.
Yeah,
yeah.
So let me think. Who would be a good Batgirl?
It's hard to say.
I really don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Amy Schumer.
Fuck off. I'm trying to think. I'm assuming
really
they're not going to
know.
go for like uber young. She'll probably be in her 30s. Because
Maybe.
like this is
the first
or
thing
maybe
my
like
brain,
Well, yeah,
20s.
because Bruce is old.
the first thing my brain like imagined, which is totally not necessarily the best choice, was Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I was like, Joss Whedon, Buffy.
That would actually be pretty interesting, but I wonder if she's like
if she would want
down
to
for that.
I mean, I think she's a little too old at this point, potentially.
Let me see, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
But I do think like she'd be a cool.
I feel like they're gonna end up going with the Chloe Grace Moretz type person.
She's 40, but she definitely does not
She doesn't
look
look
it.
40.
She could probably play Batgirl
They'd
for
have
20
to age her
years.
up a little bit.
Hey, you mean age her down?
No. They'd age Sarah Michelle Gellar down, but Batgirl, the character, they'd have to age up. Like they couldn't do. I don't think in college. They'd probably have to make her like finishing.
Well, they make
school.
J.K. Simmons look really old.
Yeah.
So that might be okay.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
mean like have her finish grad school. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like age her by like 4, 7. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love
8
to have
years.
Sarah Michelle Gellar as
That'd be cool.
Batgirl. That'd be a really good idea.
So I guess that choice works. All right.
Yeah. So then they're definitely going to do a sequel to Man of Steel. And I'm thinking, since there's only one thing we know for a fact, and that's that George Miller has been rumored to direct the movie.
Which is amazing.
Which would be a great
He's
fucking
probably
choice.
going to die by then, let's be honest.
Jesus Christ.
He's really old. He's like in his 80s.
Yeah, but he's also working on another Mad Max.
I
and
know,
the
but I'm
Furious
just,
movie.
I love him, but I'm just saying, like, when is this slated to come out?
Well, don't jinx it. Let's just say he'll live for a very
like,
long
past,
time.
this is going to come out, like, past 2020. So I really
Yeah.
hope he does, but I really hope he doesn't die.
Yeah. What's after that? Suicide Squad 2. Now, the person whose name has been attached to it, in terms of directing it, is Mel Gibson.
Excuse me?
No joke, Mel Gibson
Here's
has
the truth. I think
been approached to direct Suicide Squad 2.
he didn't he say that he didn't want to do it.
No, he said that he's talked to them about it. I don't know if he said no, but he's definitely been, like, approached to do it.
Here's the truth. I know Mel Gibson is like an asshole and anti-Semitic in real life.
Well, I was going to say,
Well,
but
just
I-
like
a great choice.
Well,
for Suicide Squad.
excluding any baggage, because that doesn't, like,
I was
he's
gonna
definitely...
say-
great choice.
He's a
for Suicide
proven
Squad.
director. I think like he would not be a bad choice in the slightest.
I think
It's
I was
just
gonna
like
say I
amazing
won't
choice.
watch Hacksaw Ridge for like because of the whole anti-Semitic thing,
Right,
but just because I won't watch it doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
right. And I've heard that it's a good movie.
What I find funny is that a lot of the main cast are like Jewish actors.
Yeah. I guess I just have to get over that. I don't know.
I think he'd be a great choice as for Suicide Squad.
It could be.
Gotham City Sirens. So David Ayer isn't directing Suicide Squad 2, but he's attached to this movie, which is like apparently what is the Harley Quinn spinoff, which is
Harley Quinn, Catwoman,
and Poison Ivy.
So I hated Margot Robbie as Harley, so I have no
Here's
interest.
the thing.
but
I think she could totally redeem it. I don't blame her. I think if she was given better,
I think it
lines,
really
they
has
could
to do
rework
with
it.
like them shitting the bed. I want to
Really?
give them the.
I felt like she was trying
like,
so hard.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I really do. So, like, again, I would say Ruby Rose is Poison Ivy, and in terms of Catwoman, Aubrey Plaza, maybe? Or no, because she probably
No,
have to be
that-
Batman's
I don't know.
age.
I would not be down
Yeah,
for
like,
that at all.
Maybe she has to be Batman's age. You
She's
know?
really cool, but she's not Catwoman.
Yeah, she's... So, like, who would you have as Catwoman? Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I'd be very much okay with that.
Yes.
Um,
She retired? I haven't seen her.
I
in
was gonna
anything.
say I was trying to think of the last thing she was in.
All I remember her is from Zorro.
I don't remember. I feel like she was like a rom-com or something like that.
Dumbledore?
Sure.
The Black Adam movie, which we already talked
I
about.
don't. Maybe by then we won't be as burnt out on The Rock.
I sincerely doubt it, but I really hope you're right.
I don't know. I'm just trying to be.
I think
Hopeful.
the DCU, like the future, is looking a lot brighter than a lot of the initial movies. But
I agree.
But I feel like they're still not doing the Marvel thing where they what is it? Actually establish their characters before just like
Yeah. Well, they
doing
said
full-on crossovers.
they're getting rid of Snyder.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, not getting rid of him, but he won't have as much pull.
Well, I don't know if it's like the studio like doing it deliberately because he's unfortunately doing something. He's dealing with something that no one should
No,
have to deal with.
I know it's
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
like
Like
I'm
it's not
sad for him, but I also don't like
like
him.
I
as
mean,
a director.
quite frankly, I like some of his movies. I think Dawn of the Dead is probably one of the best remakes of all time, and I think that Watchmen is one of the.
Dawn of the Dead's his best movie.
And I think Watchmen
Was good.
I think Watchmen gets more shit than it deserves because it's a fucking great movie.
I couldn't finish it.
Here's
love
the
Watchmen.
thing. I think the Watchmen like comic book storyline is just really good onto itself. So when they adapted it, I think he adapted it perfectly.
Like
but
it's
he
as
adapted
good.
it too perfectly. You know what I mean?
Well,
Well,
it's
it's
as good
like
as
page for page, shot for shot at some point.
And I feel like-
it's weird.
And I feel like that wasn't necessary.
It's a little awkward.
But I do enjoy the movie a lot because
Well, it's like
really
the Killing
cool.
Joke animated version when they literally say things straight from the comic. It sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's just because things on text don't come out. People don't talk like necessarily things you'd read in a book.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this. Yeah.
Like Mark Hamill doing like a Killing Joke monologue, it was kind of weird within the context of the whole everything we saw before.
That movie was such a missed opportunity in so many ways.
I don't know why they had to add the whole beginning part.
Not only that, but the way they animated the Killing Joke moments was a problem because every other like animated movie they've done, they try to actually like make the visual style resemble that of the comic book.
Yeah.
And with Dark Knight Returns, they actually like tried to make it look just like Frank Miller's artwork, and that made a huge difference. And I feel like in terms of the Killing Joke, the artist, the look of the comic book is so crucial and so classic that even though I understand that like it's too realistic to animate,
I was gonna say it didn't translate.
The color scheme was something they could have taken.
Yeah,
because the color scheme was so good, and with the animation they did use, with like a sprucing up in colors would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
But personally, I thought they kind of, I think they kind of didn't try with the animation Killing Joke in comparison to a lot of the other DC animated films.
I feel bad for people that saw it in theaters.
I saw it in theaters.
Did you really?
It sucked. Anyways, to end off this episode, I propose one question.
No.
Now that we sort of recapped our thoughts on the DC movies that have come out, we talked about Justice League, and like we kind of fan casted the movies that have, at least we know for now, that are coming out. If you had one hope for the DC extended universe, aside from obviously it being good, what do you want for them to do?
I want for them to make a universe that runs as deep as Marvel, but doesn't but doesn't overstay its welcome with a lot of Snyder-esque decisions.
I was gonna say I want them to trust their directors.
Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say something similar because in terms of,
I mean, Marvel's a little iffy on it, but they're more
trustworthy. But you don't feel like
Marvel
the studio hand.
Marvel chooses independent directors that will sort of like not conflict with like the studio decisions.
The only issue was the Edgar Wright Ant-Man thing.
Yeah, that was because they had like a big personality directing and not someone who would like listen to the studios. But sort of to what you were saying, something I think that would be really good in distinguishing this universe from Marvel. Choose really awesome directors and let them do their thing. Yeah. Because that way you have movies that feel different, look different, feel like just everything that has a personality on its own. Like, and I think that's definitely apparent. I mean, giving Zack Snyder 3 movies to do, even, no matter how awful, like,
that's a lot of work for one person.
Well, yeah, but just like in the fact that they gave someone the ability to do their vision in this universe is a good sign that they're willing to give someone that opportunity. Yeah. And like, since they're doing that with James Wan, I think that's, it seems like they're going in that step forward. The only time that they didn't do that was with David Ayer, who is like, he had a really
felt so bad.
He had a really gritty, like he wanted to make it really gritty, but I feel like it was the studio wanting to like make it more hot topic.
Well, they saw the trailer did well, and
and they're like, "Ooh, let's make it like this."
Yeah, I think Jeff Johns has realized.
I think that Jeff Johns having a more like a Kevin Feige role in this universe will definitely really benefit. Yeah. Totally. So like, if they have James Wan for Aquaman, they have like Lord and Miller for Flashpoint. They have Joss Whedon for Batgirl. They could probably have like Sam Raimi, Robert Zemeckis, Mel Gibson. Like bring in these prestigious directors, and like I feel like that would be the coolest thing.
It could make them better than Marvel potentially.
Absolutely. And
they have to be okay with not like trying to make a comic book movie, like the Nolan trilogy. They're not comic book movies. They're crime dramas. Yeah. That are in a comic world. Like, they have to be okay to go outside of, like, the
but tropes. Again, here's the thing with that. I think that's, like, for one thing, it's a high bar to reach.
If they need to.
Yeah, I think that's a high bar to reach. But, again, just to put it this way, using the Dark Knight trilogy as inspiration is what
just to be brave enough to not.
I mean, like, in terms of, like, sentiment, sure. But quite frankly, personally, I would really hope for them to not look at that franchise.
No, I mean just to not be afraid to break convention.
Yeah. I don't want them to be like Marvel because Marvel can do their thing and they're good at it. But I would like DC to do their thing differently.
They just need to do what they've been doing with their animated stuff.
Some of it, yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, agree.
I need to watch Young Justice.
Yeah, it's really good.
I don't think I've seen that either.
It's worth your time. A lot of people stopped after the first season because they were like, the second season's different because the second season takes place 5 years after the first, so they're all older.
Okay.
And the thing about it, though, was like, what annoyed me was people were like, it's so different. It's like, yeah, it takes place 5 years later.
Yeah.
Like, they have to fill us in on what's happening.
It's jarring at first. Like, when TV
It's
shows
like
do
in-
that, it's weird.
I know,
it's
but by
like
the end, it was great.
In animes, when they have like humongous time skips, like
Yeah.
50 million years have passed and all these characters are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is it is jarring, but after, like, 3 episodes in, it like, goes right back to feeling normal.
Well, there's always, like, when you watch a season on Netflix and then you start the second one, and it's, like, it feels weird.
Yeah.
You know? It's always like that, but then you get used to it.
Yeah, but Young Justice is a really great show, and the fact that it got petitioned, like, hard enough for it to come back shows how great it is.
Yeah.
And in recent years, I think it's one of the best, like, cartoons, period, around.
Well, hopefully, if DC's willing to listen enough in that aspect, they'll be able to listen to other people's points.
That is one thing I think DC does that Marvel doesn't, is because Marvel's owned by Disney, they don't really listen to the fan base, whereas I find that DC is more willing to, like, hear what the fans have to say.
Yeah.
And
Well, because
things up.
Disney makes enough money that they don't really give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
if their movie fails, it's not
Doesn't
going to
really-
hurt them
yeah,
that
it's
much.
not really a big deal.
Well, we can only hope that Warner Brothers and DC have learned from their lesson and that things will get better from here on out, starting with
hope.
Justice League.
It sounds like it. It can. Whether they actually do it or not is
Yeah.
another thing, but their blueprint is good.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Amen.
In any event,
Until they cast The Rock as every character in every movie.
I really do want John Cena Shazam. I'm not even joking about
No,
that
I want
anymore.
that too.
That
I
would just
really
look-
want
would
that to
look
happen.
So bizarre.
But quite frankly, it's the only, like, who else could be Shazam? There's not any other people who could be Shazam.
Patrick Warburton.
He's the Tick.
I know.
In any event,
Well, he used to be.
Yeah.
In any event, thank you guys for listening to this episode where we talked about the DC Universe. Any final thoughts, you schmucks?
I'm hungry.
So am I.
All right. We're going to go
That's
get dinner.
about it.
We're going to go get dinner. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.